Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a full face of new products. Like I've said in every video, do not ever feel like you need to rush out and grab anything that I am talking about or reviewing in today's video or any of my other videos. All of this stuff I have had kind of been pushed to the side, and I thought, you know what, maybe it might be fun to kind of grab a few of these newer items that I've had and just been sitting on and just do one big video of all of these different products. So please do not feel like you need to run out and grab anything. Just make a list. If there's something that you think that you might like, just put it on a list, and then, you know, maybe look into it in a couple of months when we get all of this stuff settled. I know that there's a lot of people going through a lot of financial difficulties right now, and I wanted to be sensitive to that, but also still play with these new products. And in case these are some that you've been interested in or been thinking about getting, and you can put it on the list and then, you know, look at it later. Now, I also want to let you guys know that you recently know that I took a brief break back in February, and then I had to take another break due to death in our family. And because of that, my YouTube algorithm is just out of whack. And I've had so many of you guys either comment in the comment section, contact me personally and say, Tara, I am not getting any notifications of when you're uploading. And I do know that when you upload on a schedule, it does help the algorithm, and the algorithm will notify your subscribers of your uploads. My views have been really down lately, and it's because a lot of people are just not getting the alert that I'm uploading. And hopefully once I get back on track and start uploading more and more, maybe I will get back into the YouTube algorithm. I don't know, but it's definitely frustrating because it's like, what the heck happened? I only took 2 weeks off and then I come back, but I did have to take another week off. And so it just threw the channel way out of whack. I just know that a lot of you guys are not getting the notification that I've uploaded. So if that is happening to you, I've been told to like turn off the notification bell and then turn it back on. Sometimes that will reset it. I don't know. So hopefully that helps. I don't know. We'll just see it. It's probably going to take a couple weeks for my channel to start rolling again, but whatever. I don't care about that. I'm just happy to be here. So I just wanted to briefly mention that and bring that up in case you are somebody that is not being alerted as to when I'm uploading. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into the video of me trying out all this new stuff and giving you guys my opinion on it, because some of them just did not work, bottom line. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video, and I will see you guys all in my final thoughts. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on this full face of new stuff. These are just stuff that I've been collecting over the last month, and I just figured the best way to talk about multiple products is to do it all in one video. So there you go. Now, you guys know I recently talked about the tinted moisturizer, or the, you know, from Tarte. This is the Maracuja tinted moisturizer. I also got this, which is a Miracle Mist. Now, let me briefly talk about this. This has absolutely zero coverage. You guys, when I say it has no coverage, it has no coverage. It literally is what it says, a tinted moisturizer. I've actually been wearing this on days where I'm not wearing makeup. So in between days that I'm filming, I typically don't wear makeup, and this is what I've been wearing. It makes my skin just look a little bit more plump, but no coverage. Just FYI. It's a nice product for that, just to kind of make your skin just look a tiny bit better than it naturally does. Gives that little bit of that color to the skin. I have enjoyed it though, I will be honest. It's a little bit of a thicker formula. And my preferred way to apply it is with my hands, which I hate foundation on my hands. Drives me crazy. In that order, I actually received this. This is a smaller sample of the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about this. I've actually never used this product. If I have, I can't remember. I remember this used to be like Tati's like favorite primer, and then supposedly they changed the formula and it's not as good as it used to be for pore filling. I'm not going to use it for pore filling because I don't have enlarged pores. I have a lot of problems, but that's not one of them. So I'm going to use it as a blurring type of primer. So like, I love my Cover FX, the blurring primer. I love it. I think it's a really, really good product that I put right there in the T-zone to kind of calm that shine down. I feel like this is more of a blurring primer than a pore filling. I have used pore filling primers in the past, and I feel like this is more of a blurring, not necessarily a pore. That's just me personally, but again, I don't fight enlarged pores, so you know, take that with a grain of salt. I've been using this for the last month. So I wanted to use this on camera and also share with you guys a little tip that I've absolutely been loving with this product. So this is a very glossy product. So just know right off the bat that you're going to need to wear powder with it. It's almost too glossy. It's a very, very glossy glass-like formula. It'll make your skin shine like crazy. I mean, you can see I've been using it quite a bit. This shade is a little bit too light for me, but it's okay. But as you put it on, it is very shiny. I mean, it will keep you shiny all day long. For those of you that like a dew, then this might be something that you will really, truly love. For me, I love a dew, but I also don't like it to look oily. And this has a tendency to look oily. So my favorite way to wear this is with some sort of powder over top of it and just kind of calm that shine down. Also, this doesn't give you a lot of coverage because it is called a skin tint. So it's called the Super Serum Skin Tint SPF of 40. It has niacinamide, squalane, and hyaluronic acid in it. So it's got a lot of really good, like, skincare benefits in it, but it's a skin tint. It doesn't give you a lot of coverage. I thought, I wonder what it would be like if I took just a dot, like a tiny bit of this really pigmented Airbrush Flawless Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. We know that it's a very pigmented product. This is one of those products that's so pigmented that if you're not careful, if you use too much of this, it'll look horrible on your skin. This is a foundation that is best used with a tiny, tiny bit and spread it out evenly on the face with a brush and then maybe like melt it into the skin with a sponge. That's been my preferred way. If you get it too thick, it'll look gross. That's just me. But the other day, I put like 3 drops of this down into my tray, okay? And then I put a dot of this, like a little dot. And it was like the perfect combination. I had this really beautiful serum that looked so healthy and so glowy and so beautiful on the skin, but I had a little bit more coverage with a product like this. They melted together beautifully. This is what it looks like, and it's dry. Like, this is still glossy. See what I'm saying? It's a very glossy formula. It just is. This one's in the shade ST11 Materia. Now I've mixed them, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and apply it with my brush. Now, like I said, the Ilia, it doesn't have a lot of coverage. So adding a little bit of that Charlotte Tilbury gave me a little bit more coverage, and you can see how glassy, I mean, you see it. It's very, very glassy-like. Like, she's a glossy girl. And it's okay. I like the glossiness, you know, because I can calm it down with some powder. But it is a light coverage. So it's pretty light coverage for me personally. You know, I have a lot of hyperpigmentation. And what this does is it gives me that very natural skin look. But I get the coverage from the Charlotte Tilbury, and I love that. Like, mixing them two together was just like a perfect combination for me. So I get just a nice even coat all over the face, and then I go in with my sponge and blend it in. This serum, this skin tint, is really fabulous with your fingers. Like, just kind of, you know, I think it probably would look the best. Problem with applying foundation with my hands. When I say that, it doesn't mean that I don't mind touching my face. I'm totally cool with touching my face. It's the feeling of foundation on my finger. I don't know if you guys, am I the only one? So as you can see, my skin does look really, really fresh and really natural. So you can still see some of my skin coming through, some of my imperfections, but it looks better. Like, it's hiding my hyperpigmentation, like it's covered my hyperpigmentation, but not so much my texture, which I'm fine with. Let's move on to the concealer. So this is a concealer that I have had for a minute and have not used it. This is from Beauty Blender. This is their new Bounce Airbrush Liquid Whip Concealer. And it's a full coverage in one swipe conceal and brighten with this white weightless formula that easily blends to an airbrush finish. It's a long wear, weightless, full coverage. Okay, brightens and hydrates. So by the way, I bought this in the shade 3.6 warm. This is tan golden. These shades run light. And I found that same experience in the Bounce foundation. So This is a tan golden. This is not even in the medium category. This is a tan golden. This is for tan skin. So this is Beach from Hourglass, which is perfect for my skin. But that one is very light. So the shades run really light. So this is the Dome. It's like a dome type of applicator. So let's go ahead and, oh, it's so light. You see how light that is? This is not for tan skin. This is like a light medium situation, you guys. This is so light. Like, I don't understand their shade range. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that out. It kind of dries to a powdery finish, and it doesn't stay creamy. It doesn't stay creamy long enough for you to really get in there and like blend it out and pick up any extra product. So the problem is that it kind of dries and like wants to set down. And so as you're blending it, because it wants to set, if you go over top of it with a brush or a sponge or whatever, trying to push it into the skin, it's gonna pick up some of the product. So I don't know that I love this. As you can see how it's sitting in my, like, on my eyelids, it just, I don't know, like it wants to set and then it's like it doesn't give you time to set. I don't know if that makes sense, but let me turn off the ring light. I just have the lights on in the back, so there's gonna be a lot of shadows. But this is what it look like. You can see how glossy this Ilia product is, but it looks really natural. I don't love this concealer. I mean, you can see that like, it looks like you have concealer on. This does not like push into your skin and like melt into the skin. You can still see some of my, you know, dark circles coming through here. The problem is if I add even a little bit of coverage to that, like if I go in and add a little bit more, it feels like it will pick it up because it wants to dry so quickly. I don't know. It's not my favorite. Okay, so I had to take a brief break to get my brows done. And next up, we're going to use something that's new to me. You guys have seen it in my last video in my full face of e.l.f. I'm obsessed with this cream contour palette. Absolutely obsessed. I think it's like $6 or $8. It's fabulous. Now, I don't use this shade and I don't use this shade. I only use these two shades. Such a good product. So what I've been doing is just dipping between these two. I put on a little bit right here. I put on a little bit here, put on a little bit up here, kind of like, you know, using quite a bit of it. And then I just take the brush and just kind of blend it in. It's so good. It is so good, you guys. Like one of the best affordable. In fact, to me, this is just as good of a formula as some of the high-end products that I've used. Like I love this cream contour. I'm obsessed with it. It's so good. Like I don't really look at it and say, ah, it's a cheap contour palette. It's good. And even the packaging doesn't feel all that cheap. Like, you know, I think they did a good job on the formula, and also the packaging is functional and easy to use. And here I go again, dragging out my contour too far. I can't help myself. I'm such an idiot. These I got new from Tarte. So these were released during the holidays, and when I was on the Tarte website, you know, to buy the tinted moisturizer and the facial spray and stuff, I went ahead and got these. So this is a set of 3. So you actually get 9 different products for like $30 some. These colors are really beautiful, but I definitely think this is definitely geared towards darker skin tones. As you can see, this beautiful highlighter would just be so pretty on a deeper skin tone. This one has these three colors, which this one is kind of like a really pretty nude type of blush. You could probably use it as a bronzer if you're a lighter skin, which is nice. There's this one that has my heart. Like I love mixing these two shades together. And then this highlighter is like perfect for my skin tone. I'm gonna grab this shade out of this one. I'm gonna grab this shade. I'm gonna use it as a bronzer. It looks more like a nude blush, but I might be able to use it as a bronzer. So I'm going to grab my bronzer brush, just kind of bronze up these cheeks a little bit. Then I'm going to grab my blush brush and I'm going to go in between these two shades right here. I love these two shades. These are my favorite. I love them. So pretty. Now, last time I checked, these were on sale on the Tarte website. I can't remember exactly, just for a couple bucks off. I'm gonna grab my Hourglass powder, grab my brush. You know, like I said, this is a foundation that I have to powder. Like, it's super dewy. So it's a pretty foundation, or skin tint, I guess is what they call it. It's a really pretty skin tint. It needs something over top, you know? I'm gonna grab my Hourglass bronzer. I don't think I have a new bronzer, actually. Yes. Now I'm gonna grab my highlighter brush and I'm gonna go into the glow right here. Put some of this on. It's very subtle, as you can see, but really pretty. Now I'm gonna take a clean brush and just go over top of it and make sure that it's nice and blended so that I don't have any like harsh lines, you know? I am going to grab some of my Charlotte Tilbury. Where is my brush? And I gotta like smooth out this area. It's beautiful. Ta-da! Doesn't that look so much better? Like right there in that area. It's fabulous. Now I will say I'm starting to lose coverage on my concealer. So full coverage, I don't feel like it's full coverage. Like a lot of the darkness is starting to come through and I've only had this on for maybe 30-40 minutes. So okay, so let's move on to a palette that I have been wanting to try here on camera for a minute. So this is the new one from Dior. This one is their newest collection to their Backstage. It is called the Rosewood Neutrals, and it looks somewhat similar. In fact, I kind of got them confused earlier, and so I have to delete that footage because I'm kind of a moron. This is the Amber Neutrals right here in this hand. So this one is kind of like those warm, bright. You do have a cool tone shade right here, a little bit of a cool tone shade here, but the rest are more warmer toned. This one in particular, I love this shade right here. It's so pretty. You can see I've used it. I've also used this one, which is like a really pretty like shimmer topper. It's really, really pretty, but this one is more of a cool toned. So that's the difference between these two palettes. And once I get done with this tutorial, I will go ahead and swatch them side by side so you guys can see the shades next to the shades in that palette. So the other new product that I want to try here on camera is this new Charlotte Tilbury pencil. I felt like it would go really good with this palette. So this is her double-ended pencil. So I bought the shade Copper Charge, and it has a matte pencil on one side and a shimmer on the other. I bought this one because I felt like I would use it the most out of all the other ones that they had. But this is Copper Charged. First, I'm going to use this brown eyeliner pencil from Marc Jacobs and just kind of go up on my waterline. Now, the reason why I go up on my upper waterline is because I have little baby lashes. In fact, these lashes are like falling out. I don't know what the deal is. These lashes are growing so good. And this side is just like so thin and so sparse. It's crazy. Like I cannot get my lashes to grow right in this section. They come in and they fall out and they come in and they fall out. I don't know what the deal is. I have no idea what's going on, but it is happening and I am trying to deal with it. So I'm going to take this pencil from Charlotte Tilbury, the Copper Charge, the matte side. I'm going to go right at the base of my lashes with this, kind of creating a little bit of a wing, but it'll kind of go away once I put eyeshadow on. I kind of winged it a little bit just to give me a guide on where I want to put my eyeshadow. With this, I want to try a new technique that I have been watching. I'm sure you guys are all binging YouTube like I am. One of my favorite makeup artists on YouTube is Alia Andrea. I totally botched it. I will leave a link to her channel in the description. She has some of the prettiest makeup, and she's an actual like working makeup artist. She works on celebrities. She's just, her technique is always so minimal, but yet very beautiful. And she has beautiful skin. Everything looks so pretty on her. But I watched a tutorial of her the other day where she took a Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palette. It was actually one of my favorites, the Exaggerize. I love the Exaggerize palette. It's one of my absolute favorite palettes from Charlotte Tilbury in the quad. And she took the matte shade and kind of took that and like carved out the actual shape of where she wanted. And then she just lightly started buffing. I want to try that with this palette. Maybe carve out with like this shade right here in this palette. She started about right here and just started kind of carving out the crease and just kind of made like that line. I might have to go into the shade right below it. So I might have to grab this shade as well. So I'm going to grab both of these. It's always fun just kind of like binging on all these different techniques and then trying them out on yourself, you know? So she just kind of carved it out like real slow, kind of took her time, just carving out that crease. So then I'm going to take a small pencil brush and I'm going to connect those together right down here. I think I'm gonna grab a little bit of this purple right here. So I'm gonna basically mix all three of these shades together, like bam, 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 bam. I think the pencil brush is a little bit easier to do this with. This is my small Rephr number 3 brush. It's fabulous, but any small, tiny pencil brush, I mean, this is tiny, but I'm just kind of using this to kind of connect the dots. Then she took a bronzer and used it to diffuse it. Now she used the Marc Jacobs bronzer, which is a matte bronzer. So I'm going to use this one from Fenty. She did it very lightly with a pencil brush. That actually works really good. Okay, so I'm gonna take this fluffy brush right here. I'm gonna dip into this shade, which is the lighter of some of those other shades. I'm just gonna add a little bit like right here and just kind of build from that base. I'm gonna wipe that brush off and I'm gonna go back into my bronzer, use my bronzer to kind of blend this line out. Oh yeah. Oh, this works so good. What I like about it is it gives the eyelid such dimension. Like this is definitely a good technique for those of you who have a hooded eye, carving that out with a dark color and then using lighter colors to kind of buff it. I am going to grab this middle shade right here and I'm gonna put this all over my lid. I'm gonna go into all 3 of those shades that I was using earlier, and then I'm gonna kind of buff it into this outer corner, but still keeping that V shape or C shape, whatever you wanna say. And now I'm gonna go over it with my Charlotte Tilbury pencil. So now I'm gonna take this brush, which is the Rephr number 2 brush, and I'm gonna go in between all 3 of those shades again. I'm gonna smoke this into this outer corner, but keeping most of the product on the outer corner and then dragging whatever's left on the inner, just so that the inner corner doesn't get too much product. Because I'm trying to like lift it, and it will lift if a lot of it is on the outer portion. And I'm gonna dip in between the 2 darkest colors, put it right here and like smoke it into the lower lash line. And if you just keep rubbing it for like 10 seconds, it will give that really pretty smoking effect. All right, now that we kind of have that done, now I am going to go over top of this with this. I think this shade is so pretty. I'm gonna just use my finger and just go straight over top of it. It's just such a pretty shade. And I felt like it would be really pretty over top of that berry shade. Applying it and then like building it as I want. Now, the only trick is making sure that I do the exact same steps on the other side. That's the hard part about doing one eye at a time when you're doing like filming and stuff. Like you get caught up in it and then you forget like exactly what you did on the other side. Okay, so I got the eye makeup done and I had to add a little bit of the eyelash individuals. It didn't turn out quite like I wanted it to, but it'll work. So let's get into the lips. I went ahead and went over my lips with my beauty sponge just to kind of like make them all one color. And I'm gonna grab my lip liner to contour my lips. I'm gonna use this shade from Rimmel. This is the Lasting Finish 1000 Kisses Stay On Lip Contouring Pencil in the shade 049 Natural. This pencil, I'm gonna go outside of my lines just a little bit. I'm gonna use this because this shade is so close to my actual lip tone. I wanna use this to make my lips look a little bit bigger and like contour them. I'm gonna go below and above my actual lip line. Okay, then I'm gonna go to this pencil. This is from KKW Beauty and the Mario collection. It's actually gonna draw specifically right on my actual lip line. You might wanna use this new one that I discovered from e.l.f. I used this in my e.l.f. video. This might work really good with this eyeshadow look and with this lip liner combo. This one's in the shade Nectar, and I'm gonna just take a brush and blend everything together. Also, I want to mention the mascara that I used in today's video is the new one from Anastasia, and I really like this mascara. Like, such a good mascara, you guys. Like, so good. So good. So let me get into my final thoughts on everything that I used. About the skin tint, I think I covered everything about this when I was applying it and mixing it with Charlotte Tilbury. You don't have to mix it. I just like it because it gives me a little bit more coverage, but I still get that really pretty natural kind of, you know, subtle look on the skin, if you will. So I really like this. The concealer, I hate. One of the worst concealers. I just do not like this concealer at all. I don't think it's very pretty on the skin. I feel like it's claiming to be full coverage. I don't feel like it's full coverage. I don't feel like it lasts. Like, it probably is full coverage when you first put it on, but it sure doesn't last that long. So as you guys know, this is a total pass for me. Now, the thing that I will say about the skin tint is that this does wear off very naturally. So on the days that I'm not mixing it with a really pigmented foundation like I did today, once I put powder down and kind of calm down the shine, it's absolutely beautiful. And it does wear off in a very natural way just because there isn't really a lot of coverage in the beginning. I would say this is a light, like a sheer light coverage. You can build it to a little bit more, but it's just the way it makes the skin look. It is something I do have to absolutely all the time wear powder with. Like, I can't wear this without powder, but I think it's a really pretty product. Like I said about the blushes, I think these blushes are really pretty. Do I feel like you need to grab these? Probably not, only because even though they're on sale, I just don't know if I would run out and grab these. The thing that I've noticed about the Tarte blushes is that the color wears off faster than some of my other blushes that I have, which kind of has stopped me from really enjoying these. I've had these for probably 2 or 3 weeks that I've been playing with them off and on, and I just don't feel like it lasts as long as some of my other blushes. And so I have to pack a bunch on, which looks a little clownish when I get done, but throughout the day, it wears off much quicker than some of my other blushes. I would probably pass on these if it was me. That's just my personal opinion. Tarte primer, I will continue to wear this primer, let you guys know how I feel about it. So far, I just don't see this being something that's going to battle enlarged pores. I do think it does a good job blurring, but I'm not sure about enlarged pores. And when it comes to primers, I need to use it several times with some of my favorite foundations that I know how they wear and stuff to really get a good idea on, you know, if I like it or not. The pencil from Charlotte Tilbury, I do like this. However, I feel like I'm going to be using the matte side quicker than I will the shimmer side. And I think these are pretty, but like I've only sharpened this twice and I've used a lot of it. So you can see it's not very big. Like you don't get a lot of product. Would I recommend it? The only time I would recommend getting this is that if you like a shimmery eyeliner. If you don't use a shimmery eyeliner, I wouldn't buy it if it was me. That's just a personal thing. Now, as far as the palette goes, I'm gonna put up the swatches in just a minute. Here's my thoughts. So these two on the back, okay, this one, these two dark shades right here. It says that they're both mattes. So as you can see, it says dark plum and purple brown. This one I would not call a matte. This has got a little bit of a shimmer to it, which is totally fine. Once you put it on the eye, it kind of blends out. You don't really see it per se, but they're so similar in shade. It's kind of a waste, in my personal opinion. I felt like they could have put a different shade here. I feel like these two are just too similar to have in one small little palette with 9 shades. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. Actually, there's 8 because this is a cream base. As we all know, this is a cream base that you put on before going in with these shades. So there's technically 8 shades in this palette, and to have only 8 shades, everything else works really well together. But these 2 shades are just too similar, personally. I wish that this was a little bit more pigmented than it is. Like, you really have to rub to get some sort of pigment, and it's just not, it's kind of weak. The amber neutrals, this one right here, are the exact same shade. Like, I don't even understand why they put that shade in there. That shade is called Bronze Highlighter. That's exactly what this one is called. So we're talking about this shade right here. It's called Highlighter Bronze. So it's the exact same shade. It applies the same, it looks the same, it's the exact same. So my deal is, these are expensive palettes. I just don't know why they'd have to pick the same shade. Like, they could have chosen a totally different shade to go in with this palette. I don't like that repetitive. I don't like it when brands repeat shades. It bugs me in palettes. I loved this palette. This one was one of my favorites. This is their more recent palette. Love it. This is probably one of my favorites. I don't know why. I just love the whole setup between the whites and the golds and the silvers, and then you have the black and the maroon, like, and the taupes. Like, this was a perfect palette for me personally. When you have a palette like this that's not necessarily unique, I don't understand why they had to do a repeat shade. So number one, we have a repeat shade. So if you have the amber neutrals, then you have a repeat shade. But also, number two, why have these 2 shades here on the end so similar? Okay, so there's really not much difference between these 2, right? Is there much difference between those 2? Why have it so similar in this palette? Like, it just bugs me. I don't like that. You know, you have 8 shades to work with. We don't need shades that look almost exactly the same. And I guarantee you, once you're blending them out in the eye, they're going to be the exact same shade once you blend them out. So no matter how you're using both of those shades, they're going to look the exact same as you're putting them on your eye. So that's my beef with this palette. I don't love it. Now, I love this shade in the middle. I love it. Even though it's a little weak, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I was swatching it, I had to keep kind of digging in. It's a very weak shade. And even when I was putting it on my lid, I had to keep going in and keep going in. It's a weaker shade. It just is. Overall, on a scale from 1 to 10, I would give this palette like a 5. I'm just not in love with it. I'm just not. As far as the lip from e.l.f., so I used this for the first time the other day in my full face of e.l.f., and this actually lasts longer than some of my other lipsticks. Like, this is a good formula. I would definitely recommend picking up some shades in this new formula from e.l.f. You get really good pigmentation. That's one thing I've ran into when it comes to, you know, buying drugstore lipsticks, is that sometimes you put them on and you just don't get that much pigment. But this actually has a decent pigment, and it also isn't so creamy that it's just wiping away throughout the day. It lasts a lot longer than some of the others that I've tried from the drugstore. So I actually really like this formula. I think it's a nice formula. So that's it for today's video. I hope that this full face of new makeup was fun for you guys. Again, I stress it. Do not feel any pressure to run out and grab any of this stuff right now. You know, we are kind of going through a crisis. This is just an easy way for me to, you know, kind of do a lot of the newer products that I've had for the last month, do it all in one video. But I want to make it perfectly clear that I would never want to pressure you guys into running out and grabbing anything that I speak about. I know that we're all going through tough times, so just keep that in mind. I love you all so, so much, and I will see you guys all in tomorrow's video. Love you. Bye.